college campuses, teachers have been silenced for decades, like you said, about since the 60s. So how did this happen? How did they get this power? It's mafia type control.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly. There's a story in my book about this sweet lady, Ruth Finnegan. She's in her 90s now. She's so brave. Well, in the 60s, she was a teacher in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And the unions came in and they said, we're going to unionize you all. You need us. Here's what they tell teachers. Teachers will recognize this. You need us for liability insurance because you're going to get sued. And she goes, I'm not here to harm the children. Why would I get sued? What do you do for me? Well, they couldn't convince her that she needed to join. And so she said no. Every other teacher in her school joined, as did the principals at that time. She spoke to them one-on-one or in little groups, and they would say, oh, no, I don't want to join the union. But if you don't, oh, they make your life miserable. They'll fire you. They'll ruin your job. So they all joined. And so when she wouldn't join, these unions literally, she was after school, she was grading papers. This was a sweet young teacher. They came into her classroom, 5 men in black suits.
Wow.
And harassed her. Literal mafia tactics. They did it to her twice. She finally caved and joined. She feels very guilty about having joined. She felt like we could stop this nightmare if the teachers would have stood together, but they wouldn't. And that's what happened. Teachers are so terrified that they refuse to stand up to these unions. Now, if you're feeling tempted to get mad at teachers, look in the mirror, America. Most people still are politically correct. They'll only say certain things. You're not allowed to question that we have a sex ed agenda in our schools because, oh, then you're saying something against the LGBTQ. Hogwash. When you're telling children how to go get an abortion without their parents' knowledge or permission in a public school, when you're teaching a child in a public school to have anal sex in order to avoid pregnancy, that's an attack on religious liberties. That's child abuse. That's all kinds of problems. Don't tell me that I can't speak against that. Or if I do, I'm harming the LGBTQ. So they use these mafia tactics. And then we have seen with our own eyes that teachers' unions practice talking points on us as teachers. They would use them to bully us if you were at the national level. My girlfriends who actually served at the national level. And do you know, 6 months, a year later, we'd then hear those talking points coming out in the form of Democrat talking points. And you know what? I don't call them Democratic anymore because they're not. I call them Democrat.